Hi, I'm Matt George. Welcome into a special ABC10 Plus app exclusive from Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium in Mesa, Arizona. I'm a Sacramento sports anchor and reporter for ABC10 News, and I spent the last 48 hours or so here in Mesa following everything there is to follow with A's spring training as we are just barely over a month away from A's baseball, MLB baseball in the capital city in Sacramento. A very, very exciting time. And speaking of Sacramento, that is a name, that is a word that is flying all over Mesa, Arizona, because whether it's the fans coming to watch the A's and spend their spring in the sunshine here in Arizona, or the players and coaches in that clubhouse, they know what's ahead of them. They know that a very unique journey is about to begin. Playing at Sutter Health Park, a minor league ballpark. Yes, there are a lot of changes still going on to that ballpark to bring it up to MLB standards. It's being called a very intimate setting, and that's exactly what it's going to be. It seats a little bit more than Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium here in Mesa, Arizona, but it's going to be something that is very unique to Sacramento. In fact, I was speaking with Johnny Doskow, who is one of the radio broadcast voices of the A's, but he spent 22 years as the radio broadcast voice of the Sacramento Rivercats. So he knows Sutter Health Park. He knows what that crowd can be and how loud it can be better than anyone else, and he thinks it's going to be one of the main advantages in the MLB with the A's playing at Sutter Health Park. So I had the opportunity to speak with a number of players over the last couple of days about that move and about playing at Sutter Health Park and what they're anticipating. And two of the guys that I got to talk to were two stars of the A's. One, Brent Rooker, who signed a big contract extension with the club this offseason. In fact, that extension became public, was officially announced while Brent Rooker was sitting courtside inside of the Golden One Center watching Sacramento Kings basketball. He and a few other of his teammates, plus manager Mark Kotze, came through Sacramento last month. They got to tour Sutter Health Park, be brought around the city a little bit, experience Sacramento's culture, Sacramento's vibes, and then also got to end it up with experiencing the volume of Sacramento and the fan base inside of the Golden One Center. So I spoke with both Brent Rooker and Lawrence Butler, another A's star who might have a payday on the way. Spoke with him about what that experience was like sitting courtside and feeling that energy from the fans, and both of them were very excited to talk about it, right? They talked about that energy, they talked about that volume, and I could hear the eagerness, and you can listen to what their comments and see their comments right now on the ABC 10 Plus streaming app. Their eagerness to have that crowd be a part of what they're doing, right? To bring the 18,000 that normally sit in the Golden One Center, bring them out to Sutter Health Park and have that electricity for not just a big marquee game like the home opener against the Chicago Cubs, or Mother's Day weekend against the New York Yankees, or 4th of July weekend against the San Francisco Giants, but to have that crowd and that atmosphere consistently inside of Sutter Health Park in Sacramento. Look, these are athletes. They feed off of that energy, right? And if you've experienced playoff baseball before, you know how big of a difference maker those jam-packed crowds can be. These players are looking forward to having that as part of their home field advantage in Sacramento. Brent and Lawrence had a lot of really cool stuff to say about that. But also, Sacramento is very familiar to a few other players on this roster. In fact, it's been called home for them before, not when they were playing in the minor leagues, but Tyler Ferguson. He's one of the A's pitchers, comes out of the bullpen. Tyler Ferguson lived in Sacramento for 5 years while his wife was getting her master's degree, attending grad school at Sacramento State. So he is very familiar with Sacramento's lifestyle, having lived there. He talked to us and said he's excited about spending his summer in Sacramento. He was never able to do that before because summertime, he was always wherever, whatever team he was playing for in whatever city he was playing for, right? But now Sacramento, that's been home for him before, is home for him again. So he knows what that Sacramento lifestyle and vibe is like. He's really excited to experience that at Sutter Health Park, and talked about like playing in front of his friends and family members. And speaking of family members, the A's have two players on their spring training roster, Daniel Susac and Tanner Dotson, who both played for Jesuit High School. They're Jesuit alumni, former Marauders, and if you know anything about Jesuit, they're a fantastic athletic school, period. A phenomenal baseball school. There's been a lot of baseball talent that has come out of Jesuit. Two of those guys are part of the A's organization, and they were Daniel Susak is the guy that we got to talk to out of that group, and he was sharing with us like he never expected there to ever be Major League Baseball in Sacramento, but he's really excited about it. He talked about growing up having his birthday parties every year at Sutter Health Park at a River Cats game. So it's really kind of a full circle for him as well, beginning his professional career and now having it take him back home to a place where he never thought he would play Major League Baseball at. So Sacramento is already intertwined deeply with this organization, with this team, and they still haven't even played a baseball game in Sutter Health Park and in Sacramento yet. But also, Sacramento needs to understand that they're not getting a baseball team that is just happy to be there, right? They're not getting a baseball team that is content with just trying to compete every game and leave it at that, right? Outside of the A's clubhouse and around the baseball world, I think people expect the A's to be better than what they were last season when they won, I think, 69 games. But they're not really looking at the A's as a threat to win the AL West. They're not really looking at the A's as a threat to make it to the playoffs. But inside that clubhouse, this team is hungry to prove that's wrong. Now, every single year during spring training and preseason and things like that, every team will tell you, we're making the playoffs this year. And they believe that. They feel that. They're optimistic about their season ahead. And very quickly we see the pretenders from the real contenders. But the A's are drawing on how last season ended, right? They were one of the hottest teams in baseball at the end of last season, and they're looking forward to building that momentum and carrying that momentum. In fact, Shea Langoliers, A's catcher, told me that he's already seen that momentum carry over from last year through the winter time and into spring training already. And the A's are having some success in spring training so far. I'll get to more of that in just a little bit. But a very common theme throughout this clubhouse and throughout this organization right now is this team is going to compete for a playoff spot. They base it on how last season ended and the growth that they showed as a club over the course of last season. But you also are hearing it from some of the new guys, right? Luis Severino was the marquee free agency signing for the A's this offseason, a major free agency signing, something that we haven't seen very often, certainly not recently, with this A's organization, right? He chose to play for the A's even though they're moving into a temporary home in a minor league ballpark. He chose to join this team and be really the ace, the main starting pitcher for this team. He was the first guy I heard it from. He said maybe a lot of people don't necessarily think that we are going to make the playoffs or we're not a playoff team. I think that's wrong. And he listed out all the reasons. Again, you can hear all of his comments on the ABC10 Plus app to hear it directly from his mouth, but I'll try and paraphrase for you. Essentially, he looks around this roster and he looks at the young talent, how hungry they are, and how ready they are, right? It's not just that they got a marquee free agency signing to come in and help bolster their rotation. They also brought in some other pretty big free agency signings like Leclerc to come in to help their bullpen, right? And then offensively, this team is really, really exciting. They have Brent Rooker, who's coming off of a massive year where he was one of the home run leaders in the MLB, right? They have other of their young players like Shea Langoliers coming into his zone, a lot more comfortable, a lot more consistent. Shea Langoliers was the young man that the A's traded superstar first baseman Matt Olson for. He was a prospect at the time. I remember I got to go to Sutter Health Park when the Las Vegas Aviators, who were the AAA affiliate of the A's and are the AAA affiliate of the A's, played the River Cats. And I spoke with Shea then, and Shea was obviously very talented. He had not yet been called up to the majors, was kind of shy, kind of quiet. And getting to speak to him here a few years later, just hearing how he's changed, his approach to the game has changed, how confident now and comfortable he is in not just the things he says in his own ability, but in this team and what this team can do, that spoke volumes to me, right? There is a genuine belief in this clubhouse that they are going to be competitive. The A's are not going to be a pushover, right? Very different. It's crazy how much things can change in a year. Very different year over year. Because last year, the A's were coming into spring training, a lot of young talent on this roster, not really high expectations, but hey, let's see what we can have. Mark Kotze's here. It's our final year in Oakland. Let's just try and develop and grow as a ball club every single day. And they're still trying to do that, of course. But now they're coming in off of the momentum of the end of last season, the signing of Luis Severino and other attractive free agents, getting Brent Rooker to sign an extension, and multiple other young guys like Lawrence Butler, for example, Zach Geloff, Tyler Soderstrom, so many different names that are just developing and coming into their own and really coming of age as baseball players, right? This team is ready to compete right now. So Sacramento, you need to understand that on March 31st, when the A's take on the Chicago Cubs, now it's not technically their season opener, but it is their home opener, the first time we see them in Sacramento. If you are going to the ballpark at any time this year, expect to see a product that expects to compete. And also, expect to see an offense that is very legitimate. I mean, very legitimate. This offense is loaded with pop. I'm talking about home run hitting talent, right? These A's are going to score runs. And it's funny, the guys that talked about the offense more than anybody else were the pitchers because they have a unique perspective, right? Both Luis Severino and Tyler Ferguson told me they get to face these guys every single day in practice, so they know firsthand how dangerous that they can be as hitters. But also, these pitchers are looking at this A's lineup and the offensive power of this roster and going, oh man, like Luis Severino said, if they score 3 runs in any game, that'll be enough to win. Like, that should be enough to win. I believe that if I can hold my opponent to under 3 runs, we will win games because of how much offensive pop that this roster has. And we're seeing it already. First and foremost, Sutter Health Park is considered to be a hitter's ballpark, right? The A's are coming from Oakland with all that foul ball territory, which, of course, the pitchers loved. The hitters didn't. Plus, they had the weather out there, the marine layer that would take the ball out of the sky a little bit. Brent Rooker talked about that. Now they're coming to Sacramento where that foul ball territory is gone, and the ball carries in Sacramento. So we're going to see some moonshots out to the grass. We're going to see them out past the batter's eye that they're building in center field. Heck, we might even see a ball or two find a way to roll down to the banks of the Sacramento River. There's going to be a lot of power in this A's lineup, and that was made perfectly apparent by their game today. We just wrapped up here at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. The A's beating the Cincinnati Reds 13-1, right? An absolute beatdown by the A's, putting up 13 runs. Lawrence Butler, Zach Geloff, and Miguel Andujar all hit home runs in this game. The A's scored 10 total runs in 2 innings. The 5-run second inning, 5-run third inning, right? They blew this game open very, very quickly. And now they're 5-1 in spring training. Now, look, spring training games don't matter. They don't count towards your win-loss record, but it feels a lot better to see a 5-1 record than a 1-5 record, even in games that don't count, right? They're a good indication that you're doing the right thing, you're moving in the right direction. Does that mean the A's will start their regular season 5-1? Well, I hope so, maybe even 6-0, but that's not necessarily something you can just copy and paste into a regular season schedule. But what you do is you take away lessons and things from what you are seeing. You take away, whether it's individually looking at how players are developing, looking how ready they are for the season, like seeing Lawrence Butler hit a moonshot of a home run today. Lawrence Butler is expected to be a major piece, a major star for this A's team. So seeing him do something like that, have a great game in the field as well, you're like, okay, that's what I wanted to see. He looks ready to go for the start of the season. Even Luis Severino yesterday only pitched 2 innings, gave up a home run in his first start. That's something you can hopefully see him learn from and build off of in the next time that he starts for the A's later on in spring training, right? You take little things away, but you can also look at numbers and look at a broad picture, and it'll tell you about who this team is looking to be and who this team is supposed to be. I told you all about the offense, right? This team is going to have a lot of pop, or is supposed to have a lot of pop. These are the last 4 games for the A's, in which they're 4-0, by the way. They beat the Giants, which is always fun to say, 7-5. They beat the Seattle Mariners 8-5. They beat the San Diego Padres yesterday 6-4, and then they put 13 runs up on the Cincinnati Reds today. So, I mean, quick math here. I'm not even going to do that math because I'm terrible at math. That's why I have a scoreboard do it for me. But you're talking 7 runs, 8 runs, 6 runs, 13 runs in the last 4 games. I mean, that's unbelievably impressive for this A's offense, and they look to continue their hot bats. Tomorrow, they will be taking on the Angels, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or all the different cities and counties or whatever that want to claim, Orange County as well, whatever they're called. The Angels also play in Mesa, Arizona, and they will be hosting the A's tomorrow. So the A's looking to hopefully build upon this. Now, what should we be keeping an eye out for the remainder of this spring training? We'll always look at some of the younger prospects, right? Jacob Wilson is a guy to always pay attention to. Tyler Soderstrom, Zach Geloff, making sure they look ready to really contribute as main roster guys right away, as many of those guys, if not all of them, are expected to be on the main roster. Of course, we're looking at the stars. We're looking at Luis Severino and how he looks in his next start. But let's pay close attention to the offensive numbers, right? Let's see if the A's can continue for the remainder of spring training through the next few weeks of March before they start their season. Let's see if those high-scoring numbers can continue, if that can become consistent, more than just a hot stretch, but really who they are throughout spring training. That'll give you an idea of if it's truly their identity or not, which is really exciting. Again, in Sutter Health Park, a hitter's ballpark, if this team can put up a lot of offense, and that's what they can be known for, and have a pitching staff that is able to keep opposing scores manageable, the A's can make a lot of noise. I won't necessarily predict them yet to win the AL West. I certainly won't predict them to go all the way to the World Series, but funny things happen in baseball, right? Funny things happen when a lot of change is going on. There's a lot of storylines, of course, around this team when it comes to where they're going to play, Las Vegas, right? The move, playing in a minor league ballpark, all this noise around the organization. But how good would it be for that noise to all be silenced, or for that to all become secondary to a really, really good baseball team that comes into Sacramento and plays in front of a sold-out crowd every single day, or almost every single day, because as you and I know very, very well, Sacramento supports their own. So even if there are plenty of Giants fans in Sacramento, plenty of baseball fans for other teams that have grown up supporting other teams because they didn't have a major league team, they're going to show up and they're going to support baseball in Sacramento. And if the A's can put on a show for that environment, we know how loud that crowd will respond to them. So I cannot wait for that. Again, all of this content that I've alluded to, plus even more content I haven't even talked about, is all available for you over the last 2 days here from spring training in Mesa, Arizona. It's all on the ABC10 Plus streaming app where you are watching this special, and I really appreciate you for taking the time to listen to this special. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed our coverage at spring training here in Mesa. I don't want to hop on a plane. I don't want to go home. I'm having so much fun here. The weather is great. Baseball is very exciting, and there's an extra pep in my step here knowing that I'm going to be going home tomorrow. But the A's are going to be following me in a couple weeks, and we're going to have green and gold baseball in Sacramento very, very soon. I cannot wait for that. I know you cannot as well. Make sure you keep it tuned into ABC10 and the ABC10 Plus streaming app for your coverage of A's baseball and all of the stories around A's baseball in West Sacramento and Sacramento as a whole. Make sure you keep it locked in every single day. We got plenty of stuff coming for you all season long. Appreciate your support. Can't wait to have you join us on the next special here on the ABC10 Plus streaming app.